Yo, what's up? I'ma kick it with the line, y'all know. Yo, Slim, can I kick it like this? Here we go. Well, it's time to make that change. People of the world today are fading. All of us have our ups and downs. You better think about it or you won't be around. What we need is a little bit of love. Sent by one from heaven up above. Take it from T, it's simple and plain. This ain't no game, you know what I'm saying? What? Yep, yep. Here we go. Oh, yeah.
And welcome to Your Time. I'm your host, Bruce Allen, and sitting in for the vacationing apology is my resident health guru, Victoria Ann. Welcome to Your Time tonight. Victoria, how are you doing tonight?
How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for joining me tonight and filling in for Paula G while she's off enjoying herself. You're listening to Your Time.
I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. We got a great show tonight. You're listening to Your Time, the show that reminds you that time is yours for the making and yours for the taking. How will you make use of your season and time? And we like to talk about people walking in their passion, and we've got a great guest tonight, Ms. Lisa Lampanelli, comedian extraordinaire, and she's got a lot of good things going on. She's really walking in her passion. I mean, everybody knows her as the lovable queen of mean and comedian, but we're going to talk to her tonight and maybe find out a few things that a lot of people didn't know about her. So, Victoria, what's going on with you?
Yeah, it's hot. I don't know about where you guys are, but man, it's so hot out, and there's a big thunderstorm coming in. But I wanted to ask you, did you see that crazy thing on the news today about that guy asking for $10 on Kickstarter to make potato salad?
Was that crazy or what? You want to share that with our listeners, ones who may not be familiar with it? Because it's interesting.
There's a guy who asked for only $10 on this site called Kickstarter. And he was actually on Good Morning America today, and he's actually to date collected, okay, are you ready for this? Over $70,000.
And what did he need $10 for?
To make potato salad, and the kicker was he didn't even know how to make it. And this was, and it's actually sparked a lot of controversy, both good and bad, about how insane this was and the fact that there are so many people losing their jobs and losing their homes, and this guy that nobody knows has just collected $70,000 to make potato salad.
Wow, that's a lot of potato salad.
I know, and I want to know who's going to eat it. I know when he was on Good Morning America, he said that he wanted to donate some of the money, but that the Kickstarter site wouldn't allow him to do that. So he was on Good Morning America trying to figure out how he would go about doing this and, I don't know, donate potato salad to people? I don't know.
Wow. Maybe I should, get on there and tell him I'm going to make something or whatnot.
I know. I'm like that. The minute we're off this call, I'm going on Kickstarter. I'm going to see what I can come up with.
Hey, I'm ready to let you just do the whole show, and I'm going to go ahead and get started on Kickstarter, see what I can come up with. Maybe by the end of the show, I'll have 50, 60 grand.
You can donate to my cause. I'm going to make quinoa salad. How about that?
That sounds good. Some expensive quinoa salad. Is that anything like that quinoa the quinoa?
Yeah, it's so funny because there are so many people that call quinoa so many different names. It's called quinoa, quinoa, so many different things, so it just cracks me up. But no, it's pronounced quinoa.
It's good stuff, though, right?
It's great stuff.
Yep. Hey, you mentioned earlier that it was really hot. Before we're waiting for Lisa to get here. She should be with us, join us in a minute, shortly rather. But I wanted to just talk about summer and being hot, I mean, I know we need to stay hydrated, but how can we kind of fight that heat when we're out just doing normal activities, try to prevent from overdoing it and whatnot? You got any general tips that we can kind of talk about quickly before Lisa gets here?
Yeah, there's a lot of great information. If anybody wants to just follow up with me, I can give them a lot of information about heat exhaustion and the signs and symptoms, and also some great tips on getting that water in that we need so desperately. I thought I had a little heat exhaustion myself yesterday in the garden, and if you don't stay hydrated, you can actually feel very hungry, you can feel faint and dizzy, have headaches, and your muscles can ache. And so what you want to do is when you're outside, and whether you're exercising or not, is to stay hydrated. And anybody who has trouble drinking water or they don't like it, you can get a lot of great hydration from fruits and vegetables. Or if you actually drink decaffeinated green tea or decaffeinated green iced tea, decaffeinated actually also counts for staying hydrated with water.
I see. So what happened to you yesterday when you felt like you got a little...
You have to make me talk about this. I was a little bit of a nut. It was over 90 degrees and it felt like 100. And just being outside in the garden, I realized I myself wasn't hydrated. I had to take many breaks and drink tons of bottles of water because I actually did feel shaky being out there in the sun. So it happens to the best of us, and it happens really quickly. But just pay attention to the signs. If you have a headache, if you feel hungry, if you feel a little shaky or really fatigued, just being out there doing something for even 10 minutes is a clear sign. Get in the shade, get inside the AC, and down a couple bottles of water, and you'll feel better.
I see. So I hope you're feeling better.
I am. I drank probably about 4 bottles of water outside and a couple of big containers of decaffeinated green tea. And ate a bunch of grapes. So I was good to go.
Gotcha. Well, that's good. I'm glad you could be here to join us. And just to refresh the my audience and listeners, we've had Victoria on. She's a holistic health coach, and she's got a lot of great ideas and recipes and things like that. Not only to help you eat healthy and but to maintain a healthy lifestyle and kind of detox, I guess, so to speak, and keep from stressing out in day to day, because there's so many things that'll stress us out. And and you've given us some great advice that we can pass on to our listeners. And we really appreciate your being here past few times, and we appreciate definitely being here today. I understand there's storms, so hopefully we're going to be able to stay on the air here. We won't get knocked out during the podcast. But it seems like weather's kind of bad all along the East Coast. There's rain coming from broadcasting here from Midtown Atlanta, and I hear the thunder rumbling outside, so bear with us if we do go out, but we will certainly, bring you a great show. Now, what we're going to do now, we're going to take a commercial break, and we're waiting for Lisa to join us, so we're going to go ahead and take a break, and we'll be back with you shortly. You're listening to Your Time on the Survival Radio Network. And welcome back to Your Time on the Survival Radio Network. I'm Bruce Allen, along with my guest co-host this week, Victoria Ann, our resident health guru, I guess we'll call you, Victoria. Thank you for joining me again.
Thank you for having me. You can call me a guru. That sounds great.
Yeah, but you may get a big head, and I already have one, so we don't need too big.
Hey, there are worse things.
I think Lisa's with us now, so we're going to go ahead and bring Lisa in. Lisa, are you there?
Yes, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you, and welcome to the show tonight.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I feel this is going to be the best time of your life talking to me. I consider you very lucky.
Hey, Lisa, how you doing?
Hey, Victoria, girl, what's up?
I'm doing great. Can't wait to talk to you, my friend.
Hey, don't expect much, okay? I'm really, I'm not that interesting, but I'll try. I'll try to work up some interesting stuff for you guys.
That's what I always say, Lisa. You're still in my lines.
Exactly.
Great. Thank you for joining. And I do apologize. First of all, we had a few technical difficulties, so I didn't give you the proper introduction, but you do so much. You've been on The Apprentice. You've hosted Celebrity Roast on Comedy Central, movies, stand-ups on HBO. The list goes on and on and on and on. You're known lovingly as the lovable queen of mean, and hopefully you won't be mean to me tonight. So
No. This is one of these more, I don't know, I would say, not that you're not entertainment, but you're infotainment. So we'll give people some information rather than roast you. Unless you behave badly, then all bets are off.
I'm going to be on my P's and Q's then.
Good.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us so much. We really appreciate that. Okay, before I really get into anything, Lisa, I love The Apprentice. I watch that show like all the time, and I just got to know, what was it like? I mean, after what I saw that went off the air, did you guys like go back to the hotel room, or, I mean, how was your time spent? I mean, can I ask you that, or am I breaking into?
No. Yeah, there's no secrets or confidentiality, at least when I'm concerned. No, basically what happens is what you see on the show is pretty real. I mean, they edited me to be exactly like myself. I wasn't any different than I am in real life. I'm like a premenopausal mental crazy bitch. So when I was working with those people who were just stupid, all the craziness I have came out. Was it all pretty? No, but at least it was real. And you go back to the hotel later and you hate them just as much as when you're on camera. I mean, you plot against each other. You figure out who you're going to get kicked off the next day. It's brutal.
Wow. Well, now, was there much interaction after hours, so to speak, between the cast members, or was it you go to your own space and?
Well, I mean, technically you're supposed to stop working at a certain hour. I mean, it varies for each task, but say supposedly you're supposed to stop working at 10. There are those who are really dedicated to wanting to win and to their charity, or one or the other, and you kind of cheat and you totally work after hours, but that's expected. I totally pulled a few all-nighters. I mean, I really wanted to win, and it's not because of my charity. Yeah, I'm glad I won $180,000 for them, but the big thing is the ego of wanting to stay and not get kicked off before all the stupid people did. So luckily all the dummies got booted and then me, so it worked out.
And you had
That's
never...
great. I'm sorry, Victoria, go ahead.
I said Lisa would never cheat.
No, only in a good way. I cheated in a positive way that benefited people with my charity. That's let's use that as the excuse.
That's great. Now, Lisa, so basically everyone was as they were portrayed on the show. Is that?
I mean, no, I was. I mean, I honestly was exactly like that, and probably even worse. But no, there were some people, this is the only objection I had, they made some people look less useless than they were. So, like, say, for instance, Miss Universe, that dummy, and Lou Ferrigno, that idiot, it's like they made them look like they did stuff, and they really were horrible. They were about as useful as a tampon at Betty White's house. So I resented that it kind of made us look bad, that we were picking on them, because it made it look like they did more than they actually did. So I get that The Apprentice was trying to be nice, but I'm like, whatever, dudes. I know in my heart who did the hard work. Like, Dee Snider was terrific. Aubrey O'Day was great. There were a few really good ones. So, and Clay Aiken. Oh, my God, he's the best.
Great. Now, what about the eventual winner, Arsenio? Was he everything he's cracked up to be, or?
I'll reserve judgment till his show is canceled.
Well, I think that happened a couple of weeks ago.
Okay. Well, I'll write it in my next book.
Now, would you consider going to The Apprentice again, maybe an all-star thing, or? No.
I first of all, I'll never be asked because NBC hates me right now. The reality division hates me because I made a joke about Miss Universe, and it was a racial joke because that's what I do in my comedy, and I refuse to apologize because as a comic, once you start apologizing for humor, your career is pretty much over. That's my opinion. So all I really have is my integrity, and I know I make fun of every race, creed, color, everything. So if I apologize for a joke to one person, I'm going to spend all my life apologizing, and I can't do comedy the right way. So I wouldn't apologize. And so NBC has effectively blocked me from going on America's Got Talent. They blocked me on being a judge on other things, and that's okay because they're allowed to do what they want with their network. But they did, which I thought was pretty cool, allow me to come on an All-Star Apprentice and help Penn Jillette, and I helped him win the challenge, so that felt good. So you know what? Everybody kind of got what they wanted. I helped Penn, and I didn't have to put in the crazy sleepless nights of being on another show.
Great. Yeah, I really enjoyed you on The Apprentice. I mean, I was a fan of the show already, but you really brought some class to the show. So we appreciate
you're the only one who'd use the word class, but that's good. I'm glad you make me sound better than I am. So thank you.
That's great. Now you were talking earlier about your career, and a lot of people may not know this, but you started out as a journalist for Rolling Stone and Spy magazine.
Well, I was more a journalist. I was actually a worker at those magazines. I worked at Rolling Stone as a fact checker, researcher, editorial assistant, and I worked at Spy as the chief of research. And I was a journalist for other publications that were lesser known. But yeah, I did that till I was about 30 years old because I had gone to college for journalism originally. Okay.
Now, everyone probably has the same question. Those are like two different extremes. Working in the journalism field and stand-up comedy.
Right.
I mean, those two careers couldn't be further apart. Was it always your passion to do comedy, or?
I think if I had paid attention to what really made me happy, I probably would have started comedy earlier, meaning I really liked to lighten up a mood with a joke. I was never class clown, but I always liked to lighten the mood. And even in my family, there's like a thing called the family atom, ATOM, that psychologists use to figure out whose place is what in the family. And I definitely analyzed that I was a mascot, and that means I kind of was the person who made people laugh where the other members of the family wouldn't have been considered funny if they said what I did. So if I'd have noticed that earlier on, I probably would have gone with that. But it's something you don't notice till you notice it. And I was at Rolling Stone, and I just said to myself, I said to a couple of the guys, I always wanted to try stand-up. I always wanted to try it. And I remember this guy, Steve Futterman, in the research department said, that's horrible. It's the worst profession ever because it's so self-centered and everybody's so needy. And I go, that sounds perfect for me. So I did it.
Because we talk a lot on our show about people following their passions, and not being afraid to transition into a new career, a new life, after change in life or ending a relationship or starting a new relationship. So apparently you went head first into that. You weren't afraid?
Well, no, I put a toe in first because I think what I did was I'm not going to be scared to try it, but I had no idea how to try it because you go, what do they do? Do they just stand up there? Do they write stuff first? I don't get it. And what ended up was I saw that this DJ company needed rent-a-DJs, like the kind of guys who go around and do parties. So they thought, that'll get me used to talking on a microphone before I have to try comedy. So I kind of used that as a little toe in. Then the karaoke boom started, and I started being a karaoke leader. And I just started going, okay, I could talk on a mic. Now, then it presented himself. There was a guy teaching stand-up in Connecticut, and I was like, okay, I'm going to try that. So I put a toe in at a time until I was like, okay, this is definitely something that hits me, that I'm supposed to be doing it. And I just, thank God, continued on because now the world has the gift that is Lisa Lampanelli. You're welcome.
Absolutely. Thank you.
We're really happy, Lisa. Hey, Lisa, you know better than anyone else that comedy is so difficult. Being in the entertainment business is so difficult. But has it been even more difficult for a woman in comedy, it being a mostly male-dominated profession?
Well, I think I think it was always easier for me to get noticed because at the time there were very few funny women. There was a lot of really bad, awful sort of 80s type of women comics, the type who did jokes about PMS and shopping and stuff men didn't care about. So it was easier for me to stand out as somebody to watch for. Now, there's way more good women comics, so it's cool as hell. But I think it was easier for me to stand out. I always felt sorry for the white male comics because there were so many funny, clever white guys, and they just kind of all blended together. So that's why a guy like Tom Cotter, who was on America's Got Talent a couple of years ago, he blended in with the rest until his time came. So I always thought I had a little leg up by being a chick.
Wow, cool.
Excellent. Now, do you still practice and hone your craft, Lisa, or are you just at a level where you're at, I guess, like deity status where you just show up? I mean...
Well, I'm the type, this is me, I never felt that I couldn't save a joke, meaning I didn't feel like I was ever going to go up, try a new bit, and it'd bomb, and then I wouldn't be able to recover. So I always, instead of being the person who plays theaters and then during the week goes to the New York clubs and tries stuff, I always go, you know what, screw it, it's my crowd. They're going to love me anyway because they're predisposed to like me. If I try a joke and it doesn't work well, then I could save it. I could just move on. I'm good with ad-lib, and I can go on to something else. So the minute I stopped playing clubs, which was about 10 years ago, thank God, I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to do my theater shows, and I'll inject a bit here or there because I always know I'm skilled enough to save it if it tanks. And usually they don't tank anyway because it goes just on passion alone. It's how the joke works. So, I still try new bits all the time, and I have no choice to do that because you can't go back to places with the same material all the time. But I don't kind of hop around the clubs, becoming a bitter pothead comic like a lot of those guys.
Great. Okay. Well, Lisa, we're going to take a break and pay a few bills here. You mind hanging around a little bit longer? Talking to us?
Of course.
Great. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to the Lovable Queen of Mean on your time on the Survival Radio. Some great music from the Culture Club. That's from way back. You're listening to Your Time on the Survival Radio Network. I'm Bruce Allen. Sitting in for the vacationing Paula G this week is my guest co-host, Victoria Ann, our holistic health coach. And we are talking to our amazing guest, the Queen of Mean, Ms. Lisa Lampanelli, who's my new best friend, right, Lisa?
Hell yeah. I've had worse friends than you.
Thank you very much again for joining.
Just a few questions. What's going on?
Yeah, right? Hey, I jump ship easy. Bruce can do stuff for my career, right, Bruce?
Yeah, that's correct. You're right.
Go over here now.
We'll make sure we exchange information so you can reach me 24/7. I'm available.
Lucky you. Thank God I don't drink, or I'd be drunk dialing Atlanta all the time.
Hey, Lisa, I appreciate you joining us. It's been so much fun so far. I wanted to ask you, there people who watch The Apprentice probably already know this about you, but for those listeners who may not be aware, you won a lot of money for your charity on Celebrity Apprentice, Gay Men's Health Crisis. And can you tell us a little bit about how you got involved with them?
Yeah, it's weird. I always felt very out of place. I always felt like I didn't fit in anywhere. And I think, the research shows that humans have this innate need to belong. It's one of our driving forces. And I always felt I had a gay fan base, or partially gay fan base, because I felt that they have that same thing where gay men and women don't feel like they fit in anyway. So I always sort of identified with the gay culture, even though I'm not yet. I mean, who knows? I may someday turn. So I got involved with them because when things started to happen where I could donate money or I could earn money for them, I thought, you know what, this is a charity that helps people who are really disenfranchised, and I kind of I feel it in my heart that this is the right place to go to. So I try to really align myself with something I feel in my heart. I don't pick things sort of casually. Like even now, right before I called you, I was looking up how to donate my wedding dress for charity, and there's 5 different places, and I'm like, wow, I got to figure out the place that really speaks to my heart. And I think the minute I see it, I know it, and that's who I go with.
Wow, that is so awesome. I love that.
And you won $180,000 for that charity? I bet they were really thrilled.
Oh, they were,
great.
And they're very grateful. That's the thing, too. I always like working for a charity that, not that you need thanks, but that just really shows you in ways that they appreciate you and value you. All you need is a thank you. It's like when you date. It's funny, I read something about men once where they're like, men don't want a whole lot. They don't want you to buy them dinner just because they bought you dinner. They just want you to be appreciative and say thank you. And I think it's the same with charity. You just want a little thank you note or, hey, we're thinking about you kind of thing. And it's GMHC was always that way with me, and it just felt good.
Yeah, that goes a long way. I agree.
Well, shouts out to them.
Yes, they're very cool people. Follow them at GMHC on Twitter.
Cool.
Very cool. That's great. And Lisa, you were talking about relationships a bit earlier, and let me know if I'm being pushy or anything. But you've had a relationship change recently.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Okay.
I'm the type that I know that if I get quiet for a minute and kind of really allow myself to feel what I'm really feeling deep down, that I'll come up with the answer eventually. It may be torturous, it may be a pain in the ass, but I kind of eventually will come out if I just shut up for a minute and stop running. So recently I had to take care of, I was honored, I didn't have to, but I was honored to be sort of primary caretaker for my dad who was had cancer. And in those moments, when he would be asleep or whatever, I would be thinking to myself, God, this has really given my life meaning. And it really helped me sort of end a relationship that wasn't really going anywhere. I had been married, et cetera. And I just go, I don't want this relationship anymore. It's not serving me. It's sort of just a friendship, and it's not really passionate, and, it's not really a relationship that is befitting of who I am. So I was able to, thank God, calmly, have this thing transition into a separation, and it's in the court. It's not in the courts now, but it's the paperwork's been submitted. So it was, thank God, not a very tumultuous, drama-filled divorce. So I just think when you get quiet and you can get to what you really deserve in life, you can figure out what the right thing to do is.
Very good. And so basically, you subscribe to the theory that couples sometimes can transition in life but not together, and it's okay?
I think so. I think so. I don't see how anyone stays together longer than a year. I'm not good at this. I stink at relationships, but I'm really good at recognizing bad ones. So I recognize this pretty quickly. This to me was sort of an inexpensive mistake because thankfully I obviously had an ironclad prenup. I had a great lawyer. Jimmy's not an immoral guy, thank God, And he wasn't an evil guy either. That's the thing. It's a divorce is pretty easy if you have two uneval people. So I think, it's sometimes you end up just friends, and you got to just have the guts to go, you know what, we could both do better than just friendships if it's a marriage, so let's just move on.
Great.
Yeah.
Now, you've been through so many life-changing transitions over the past several years, Lisa.
Yes.
How do you stay focused on balancing life challenges in your career? You've undergone bariatric surgery. We'll talk about that here shortly. And you're trying to transition your career, I guess, to a different phase. You're doing some acting, just doing different things that you haven't done. So how do you stay focused with all those challenges?
I'm lucky enough to have good friends, I think, and management. I have a manager who, I'm telling you, there's no manager or an agent also like this on earth other than my two, because it's like a friendship and they just like love me and they always go with the flow with me. Like I'll have an idea and then I'll lose interest in it 10 minutes later and they'll just like kind of run with it because they're like, she just has to get to where, get to the idea she really wants to do. So having people who work with you plus are your friends is really good and have your best interest at heart. And also just having friends who get it, who you can call and like just bitch and moan to and get through all the, preliminary stages and finally come up with a solution, And I'm still trying to get a balanced life. I don't know how anyone has a balanced life. I totally don't. I used to be 100% work, but then when I went and took care of my dad, it became 100% family and friends to a certain extent. But now it's like, now that my dad's gone, I have to like balance everything and have a little bit of fun, a little bit of work, a little bit of spirituality, a little bit of decent exercise, a little bit of good nutrition, a little bit of the dog, friends and family. I'm super out of whack and out of balance, but at least I'm aware of it and go, okay, let's get this in balance because that's the real problem here. And, I have to focus on adding things into my life that are really healthy and great in a balanced way. And it's going to be a juggling act for a while, but I think I can do it.
Very good.
Yeah, if you can. Hey, Haley, you have so many major changes in your life. I most certainly relate to everything that you've spoken about, and especially with the bariatric surgery. And there are so many people out there that think that surgery, especially this kind of surgery, is cheating. It's the easy way out to lose weight. Can you share with us your decision to have the surgery and what your experiences have been and what advice you can give others who are thinking about having it?
Well, I think that, like, I always say, I said this on TV and in my act, if I cheated anything, it's death, because my doctor had said to me at the time, how many 70-year-olds are there who are alive at your weight? And it's true. It's like, you have a really uncomfortable life if you're, 200 and something, 300 pounds, because Jimmy was 350 at the time and I was 248. We're like, how long are you really going to live a healthy kind of non-sickly life? So we both had a struggle with all the diets and exercise for 32 years before we were like, okay, enough. You just have to sometimes just go, enough, what am I even doing? Like, is this clear? Something clearly isn't working. It's like you wouldn't waste more than 30 years on beating your head against the wall with a career that wasn't going anywhere. Why are you doing it with diet and exercise that clearly there's some block that's just not allowing it to work? It's some emotional or mental block. So we said, let's take that out of the equation by losing this weight, and then the work continues on yourself emotionally and mentally, and you have to still work on it every single day, but at least you can do it in a healthy way where you're not going to die tomorrow of diabetes, where your cholesterol isn't going through the roof. So it's really, it's just kind of a cosmic do-over, but it certainly isn't easy, and it certainly isn't cheating. I mean, at least I don't think so. And anybody who says it, they're just, they're ignorant and uninformed, and that's okay. Not everybody has to love what I do. Not everybody has to love how I conduct my life, but I have to love it. And so it was an easy decision for me at that point.
Yeah, and what advice would you give others who are thinking about it? How should they go about it, researching doctors and taking their time? What would you say to them?
Oh, I would just say go and research it as much as you can and talk to successful people who've done it successfully. And the thing is, don't listen to everybody because your experience is your experience. If you watch YouTube and every blog of every person who's had surgery, they're all going to either scare you or make it sound too good to be true. And you just have to take everything with a grain of salt and say your experience is going to be unlike anybody else's, and you just have to have the faith that you've had enough and you want to change your whole life. So I would say definitely have definitely get a second opinion, definitely get the most current surgeries that are available and not the old school ones, because you might as well you wouldn't buy an old jalopy car. Why are you getting an old jalopy surgery? And just, if you've tried everything else and this, you have a clear conscience that you cannot do it any other way, then you need to do it.
Yeah.
Very nice answer. And I hope that benefits our listeners, Lisa. That's very humbling to hear you say all of what you just said. That was totally great advice. We all have our struggles with weight and everything, and that was very well said, so thank you for sharing that with us. We appreciate that. Now, we're going to have to take one more commercial break. I do apologize, but we need to get this in, and we'll be back to finish up with you if that's okay with you.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you. You're listening to Your Time on this. And welcome back to Your Time on Survival Radio Network. I'm Bruce Allen, along with my guest co-host tonight, Victoria Ann, and the lovable queen of mean, Miss Lisa Lampanelli. Lisa.
Hello.
Thanks for being here again. We certainly appreciate it. You have
been. I am having a blast. What about you, Bruce? What about you, Lisa? This has been so much fun chatting with you.
Yeah, you guys make it easy. You really do. I like radio where one doesn't have to be performy because, I have a real serious side to me, and yes, it's great to be entertaining and funny when you have to be, but it's also good to talk about stuff that, shows that comics just aren't frivolous and, we got some thoughts too.
Yeah, and actually, Lee, speaking about that, you do a lot off stage, and one of the things that people probably don't know is that you weren't busy enough, but last year you attended Yale's summer acting program. Was this a prelude to finalizing your Broadway one-woman show, or what was this all about for you?
Yeah, it's funny. I had this thing where I never feel like I'm enough, unfortunately. I don't think many people think they're enough, and we all should think we're enough because we are. But when I thought about doing the Broadway show, which is called Fat Girl Interrupted, that it's going to be on Broadway this fall, I was like, oh, my God, even though I'm a stand-up and it's a one-person show and it's basically storytelling, I bet I'm not a good enough actor, so I better go to a program, and what better way to soothe my ego was to go to a Ivy League school and make myself feel better about myself. And, it's just a lot was definitely ego-driven. Yes, did I learn a ton? Definitely. But a lot of it was ego-driven and probably not the best use of my time because, you want to show people. You want to be like, I went to Yale. And it's like, it's funny when you analyze, you go, was that such a smart idea? So these are the kind of things that I think of now where when I'm compelled to do something, I go, am I doing it for the reason I really should be doing it for, which is, well, that I'm actually interested in the subject matter and that I'm actually really not just feeling less than at the moment and have to brag about something. So it's a lot of stuff that, I think of when making these different transitions into things that I want to do now.
That's great.
Yeah.
And Lisa, you mentioned the Broadway play, and we've got a few minutes left here, and I want to make sure we can get some more information in on this. Fat Girl Interrupted, can you tell us how the Broadway show is embracing your personal and career transitions?
Well, yeah. About 4 or 5 years ago, I was thinking I wanted to retire because I just had done everything in comedy that I wanted to do. I played Radio City and Carnegie Hall, and what else is there really? After doing an HBO special, there's very few people who get to say they did one. And I was like, what else am I going to do? And I said, I'll just retire. But then I had an idea to do this Broadway show because I said there's more to me and my struggle with food and weight and men than people know, and it might help some other people. So I started writing it with Alan Zweibel, who wrote Billy Crystal's one-man show for Broadway, and it's really going well. And these shows take a long time to develop because they change so much and get edited and rehearsed and everything. But, it's something that really shows that, I'm funny, and it is a really funny show, but it also has a lot of moments of realness that show the struggles that everybody goes through on a day-to-day basis with these different issues. So, it is a transitional thing. It helps people know there's more to you, which helps you get taken more seriously, which helps you kind of do other endeavors. So it is a really transitional piece that I think is really going to serve me in the end.
That is excellent. We certainly appreciate your sharing that with us. And it's a one-woman play. About how long is the play going to be when you're doing a performance? How long?
Well, my writer and our philosophy is nobody needs to see you for more than 90 minutes. Who do you think you are? You know what I mean? I mean, Billy Crystal's one thing. Him we'll put up with for 2 hours because, that's Billy Crystal. But, when you're at my level, which is kind of this in-between half-ass celebrity level I have, it's like my story is definitely interesting enough for 90 minutes, and also you really can get all your views across in 90 minutes. So it's basically like a 90-minute show that has no intermission that people can really sort of, I feel every time I've done it, I've got a standing O, so people seem to be really affected by it. So that's nice.
That's great. And I know it's starting in the fall. Do you have an exact date yet, or?
No, not yet, and I think you'll like this. We did have a couple offers for Broadway in August and September, but turned them down because of not the timing being right. So I think it's like I never thought I'd be the chick who turned down a Broadway offer because we're always kind of grabbing at things. And
right.
I think people should really think about what's best for them before they just grab out of some status or something that makes them feel good. It's almost like passing up the wrong guy or passing up the wrong food or anything that's wrong for you and it doesn't feel quite right and the timing isn't right. It's worth passing by because something else better is going to come along. So I'm really thrilled that my management's the type that's like, yeah, you're right. We need to do this when the time is perfect. So I think that's a real helpful thing in just deciding what you want to do in your life and not just jumping at whatever moves.
That's amazing. And Lisa, quickly, we're running out of time, so I apologize for that. But any other projects coming up soon that we can be on the lookout for? Or
absolutely not. I don't want to do anything else. I'm so sick of being of the mind that being a comedian isn't enough, and it is enough. So, no, I absolutely hope I never do anything again.
Okay. I understand. And where can people find out more about you? What's your website?
Insultcomic.com, because my name is too hard to spell, so just go to insultcomic.com. On Twitter, I'm at Lisa Lampanelli, if you're lucky enough to be able to spell it. And, look for Broadway, hopefully, for this fall.
That's great, Lisa. It has been an absolute pleasure. Time just zipped by. We certainly appreciate you being here, and we'll look forward to seeing Fat Girl Interrupted, and hopefully we can have you back sometime in the future.
Definitely, and thank you for being so real. I really like the show. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you, Lisa. Have a great night.
Okay, bye.
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 That was amazing.
That was amazing. Usually I like to kind of go out and relax and try to listen to the show, but I'm so glad I was taking part in that because that was an amazing interview. And I heard some things from Lisa that I didn't expect, not to say that, just from her being a comedian, some of the words that she said really touched me. And I hope our listeners were able to, glean some positive things from her because she's totally walking in her passion. She's had, a lot of valleys, a lot of in her walking, her passion walk, but she keeps going on. She continues, and that's what we strive and stress for here at Your Time. No matter what your situation is, you take your time to grieve, you take your time to make your decision on what you're going to do next, but then you press forward. So an amazing story, and it was so good to just learn a little bit more about Lisa. She's a great guest. Really appreciate her being with us.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully she was able to help other people who were struggling with just transitioning their careers and life. And I thought it was real and raw and honest, and it was an amazing show.
That was absolutely great. And Victoria, we're going to have you back, too, again sometime. I'm sorry we had a little technical difficulty in the beginning. I apologize to the audience as well. But, we got through it. It was a very good show. And I hope everyone has a great rest of the week and a great weekend. And we're going to be back next week with Your Time. My co-host, Paula G, will be back in the saddle here. But thank you for listening tonight, and we will talk with you next time. Everyone have a good night.
Good night, everyone.